Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear viewers, we shall present to you the 17th segment of our serialized presentation on Quaid's life. And in this one, we shall discuss the following. The final plan, that is the plan which led to the creation of Pakistan. Sir Agha Khan's commendation on Jinnah's adroit leadership. Worldwide broadcast, Congress acceptance, Muslim League acceptance, and fruition of the Muslim dream, boundary demarcation in which there was denial of justice. The final plan, the Viceroy completed his talks with His Majesty's government in London and was on his way back to India, reaching Delhi on 31st May 1947. Mountbatten requested the League and the Congress to nominate 3 representatives each to meet him on 2nd June at the Viceroy's house in New Delhi, and at the same time he invited Sardar Baldev Singh to his conference as a representative of the Sikhs. Muslim League was represented by Quaid Azam, Liaquat Ali Khan and Sardar Abdul Rabb Nishtar. The Congress by Mr. Nehru, Patel and Acharya Kripalani, who was the Congress president. These 7 were closeted with the Viceroy on that eventful day to take decisions which were to decide the fate of India. The Viceroy confessed it was an extremely difficult task to bring about unity of thought and action, when on the one hand Congress was opposed to partition of India, although it agreed that Muslim majority areas cannot be forced against their will. And on the other hand, Jinnah wanted the division of India, but was not prepared for the division of the provinces. He informed the 7 leaders what he was placing before them had not only the approval of His Majesty's government, also of the opposition in the British Parliament, including Mr. Winston Churchill. The plan approved by His Majesty's government accepted the principle of partition, details of which were to be framed in consultation with the League and the Congress. Power would be transferred to 2 states with full and unfettered dominion status and with the right to secede from the Commonwealth. In view of recent developments in India, it was agreed to advance the date for the transfer of power from June 1948 to 15th of August 1947. The wishes of the citizens of Calcutta were not to be ascertained whether they wanted to join Pakistan or not, but that it would be a city in Hindustan. The India Office would be abolished. Representatives of Muslim majority districts in Bengal and the Punjab assemblies would decide for themselves whether they wished the constitution to be framed by the existing Constituent Assembly or by a new separate Constituent Assembly, and Muslim and non-Muslim members of these assemblies would sit separately and decide whether or not the province should be partitioned. The Sindh Assembly would take its own decision, however, on this question. In the frontier, there would be a referendum to decide the issue, while the Governor-General would devise a plan for the same purpose for British Balochistan. In case of partition being decided upon, a referendum would be held in the Sylhet district of Azam, whether it wanted to accede to Pakistan or to Hindustan. If it was agreed in accordance with the procedure laid above that there should be partition of India and also partition of Bengal and the Punjab, then a boundary commission would be set up to demarcate boundaries for this purpose in order to determine the final geographical shape and extent of Pakistan and Hindustan. Insofar as the Indian states were concerned, the Cabinet Mission Memorandum of 12th May 1946 remained unchanged. His Majesty's government had decided, in deference to the desire for immediate transfer of power, to anticipate the date of June 1948 for the handing over of power by the setting up of an independent Indian government or governments at an even earlier date. The plan had an appendix which named what were considered to be in accordance with the Indian census of 1941 Muslim majority districts of the Punjab and Bengal. In the end, the Viceroy said, although he trusted the word of the 7 eminent leaders present, he would be glad to receive their final decisions by midnight after they had consulted their working committees. Quaid said he was hopeful of a favorable decision but would not like to predetermine the issue. He said that in any case he would go to his masters, by which he meant the people, and for this purpose he would have to consult the Council of the All India Muslim League. Nehru agreed to communicate the views of the Congress by midnight. Sir Aga Khan's commendation on Jinnah's adroit leadership. Commenting on the adroit manner in which Quaid had negotiated against all odds at this crucial juncture of history on behalf of the Muslims, the Aga Khan writes, meanwhile, 1947 was India's year of destiny. Now Jinnah saw his chance and took it resolutely and unflinchingly. He announced his conditional acceptance of the British scheme. In that one decision, combining as it did sagacity, shrewdness, unequaled political flair, he justified, I am convinced, my claim that he was the most remarkable of all the great statesmen that I have known. I put him on a level with Bismarck. Worldwide broadcast. Mountbatten informed the leaders that he would record a worldwide broadcast from Delhi station to be relayed from Delhi, London and New York simultaneously, and requested Quaid and Nehru also to address the peoples of India, assuring their personal acceptance of the plan and that they would do their best to obtain its acceptance by their respective organizations. Both the leaders agreed to do so. Congress's acceptance. The Congress Working Committee met the same day and resolved to accept the plan. A letter to that effect was sent by the Congress President Kripalani to the Viceroy. This acceptance had a proviso. This is dependent on the acceptance of the proposals by the Muslim League and a clear understanding that no further claims will be put forward. Muslim League's acceptance. A meeting of the Working Committee of the League discussed the declaration of His Majesty's government as communicated to their representatives by the Viceroy. The Working Committee, after having discussed the scheme at great length, decided to name Karachi as the capital of the state of Pakistan, indicating that the final acceptance of the plan by the Council of the League was now only a matter of formality. In an interview with the Viceroy that night, Quaid told the Viceroy that while his working committee was hopeful that the Council of the League would accept the plan, yet they could not speak on its behalf. He was, however, calling a meeting of the Council within a week and asked the Viceroy to await the decision of the Council. Mountbatten did not agree, as he was apprehensive that a week's delay may endanger full and final acceptance of the plan. As a compromise, the Viceroy suggested he would inform the leaders in the meeting, which was to be held the next day, that he was satisfied with the assurance Jinnah had given him, and that on this the Quaid should move his head in token of his assent. Quaid agreed to this. On June 3rd, morning, the Viceroy was once again in conference with the 7 leaders, informing that Congress and the Sikhs had given their consent in writing, and that Jinnah had given a verbal assurance on behalf of the Muslim League. At this point of his talk with the leaders, the Viceroy turned towards Quaid and Campbell Johnson writes, Jinnah confirmed this by the appropriate silence and nod of the head. At the conclusion of the conference, Mountbatten announced that an official announcement of the acceptance of the plan would be made by him and by the 2 leaders, Jinnah and Nehru, that evening in a radio broadcast. That same night, Attlee spoke to his nation in a radio broadcast and said, as the Indian leaders have finally failed to agree on the cabinet mission's plan for a united India, partition becomes the inevitable alternative. These words were an indirect but undying tribute to the skillful manner in which Quaid-e-Azam had conducted all negotiations with the Congress and His Majesty's government. Had he yielded or compromised or faltered, a united India would have been imposed on Muslims, sounding the death knell of their demand for Pakistan. The Delhi station of All India Radio was rich with excitement. Mountbatten spoke with poise and dignity. He declared in unequivocal terms that power would be definitely transferred by the British to the two successor sovereign states. The Viceroy concluded his broadcast with the words, "I have faith in the future of India, and I am proud to be with you all at this momentous time. May your decisions be wisely guided, and may they be carried out in the peaceful and friendly spirit of the Gandhi Jinnah appeal." Then followed Nehru, who in a solemn voice announced the Congress had accepted the plan for India's independence as set out in His Majesty's plan announced by the Viceroy. Finally, it was Quaid-e-Azam who was addressing the Muslim nation. His first sentence on this historic occasion was, "I am glad that I am offered an opportunity to speak to you directly through this radio from Delhi. Regarding the plan for the transfer of power to the peoples of India," he said, "they had to take momentous decisions and handle grave issues. Therefore, we must galvanize and concentrate all our energy to see that the transfer of power is effected in a peaceful and orderly manner." Quaid-e-Azam continued, "I pray to God that at this critical moment He may guide us and enable us to discharge our responsibilities in a wise and statesmanlike manner." Referring to the plan, he said it did not meet the point of view of the Muslim League in some important aspects, and he would therefore not say that he was satisfied with it. He had summoned a meeting of the Council of the All India Muslim League on the 9th, and he would not, he said, wish to prejudice the issue. He then paid compliments to the Viceroy, who has battled against various forces very bravely, and the impression he has left on my mind is that he was actuated by a high sense of fairness and impartiality. I cannot but express my appreciation of the sufferings and sacrifices made by all classes of Muslims. He gave wholehearted credit for the great part of the women of the frontier played in the fight for our civil liberties. He did not forget those who had died or suffered in the struggle for Pakistan. I deeply sympathize with all those who have suffered and those who died or whose properties were subjected to destruction. Quaid-e-Azam ended his memorable speech by saying extemporaneously, "Pakistan Zindabad." Coming now, my dear viewers, to our next part of this presentation, that is fruition of the Muslim dream. Devdas Gandhi, that is Mahatma Gandhi's son, gave indication that his father, Gandhi, was not willing to accept partition, although the other Congress leaders had given their approval to it. The Viceroy invited Gandhi to the Viceregal house, and the two had detailed discussions over the creation of Pakistan. That evening, Gandhi, in a chastened mood, told his prayer meeting, "The British government is not responsible for partition. The Viceroy has no hand in it. In fact, he is as opposed to division as Congress itself. But if both of us, Hindus and Muslims, cannot agree on anything else, then the Viceroy is left with no choice." Quaid-e-Azam convened a meeting of the Council of the All India Muslim League on 9th June to decide upon its sentiment regarding the 3rd June plan. Quaid-e-Azam presided over the meeting as he had done over almost all the meetings of the Council for the last so many years. After the Quaid had introduced the subject at some length, and after some important members had explained the resolution of the working committee concerning the plan, the Council took a decision endorsing the working committee's resolution on this very subject. It expressed satisfaction that the cabinet mission plan had, after all, been abandoned. The concluding part of the resolution gave full powers to Quaid-e-Azam to accept as a compromise the principles underlying the plan. As the meeting was about to conclude, there were some Khaksars, an organization headed by Inayatullah Mashriqi, who had stormed the Imperial Hotel armed with their belchas, or spades as they're called in English, a symbol of the Khaksars. They were challenged by the National Guards of the Muslim League. Fists, sticks, and belchas were freely used. Just then the police appeared on the scene, fired a few tear gas shells, and instantly the intruding Khaksars, intent on mischief, retreated from the Imperial Hotel. During all this period, Quaid-e-Azam sat on the dais, composed, unafraid. There was no doubt but that the assault was an attempt on his life. The only previous attempt to assassinate him in Bombay in 1943 was also made by a Khaksar. The Congress decided that Mountbatten should stay on in India even after 15th August as Governor General, while Quaid-e-Azam wanted there should be 3 Governor Generals, one for India, one for Pakistan, and Lord Mountbatten as the supreme arbitrator. His Majesty's government was in no mood to accept Quaid's proposal. With Pakistan now around the corner, Nehru and his Congress colleagues began to intrigue against the continuation in office by Muslim League nominees in the interim government. Quaid-e-Azam was very firm and threatened that the League would withdraw its acceptance of the 3rd June plan if Mountbatten yielded to Congress pressure. Gandhi wrote to the Viceroy on 10th June, "The sooner you have a homogeneous ministry, the better." The Quaid single-handed fought all the machinations of Gandhi, Nehru, Patel, and the others. Referring to the Viceroy's statement in one of his letters to Gandhi that the Quaid had made it clear the League would withdraw its approval of the 3rd June plan in case Mountbatten agreed to the demand of the Congress, and would thus make it impossible for the transfer of power on 15th August, Gandhi wrote, "This was for me a startling statement." Gandhi went on to condemn partition of India as a mistake. It was obvious that while the Congress was maintaining acceptance of the 3rd June plan on the surface, its guide, its philosopher and saint was waging a last-ditch battle to get the idea of Pakistan annulled. Towards the end of June, Congress increased its pressure tactics to get the Muslim League out of the interim government and went to the extent of threatening the Viceroy with their resignations in case he did not oblige them. Quaid objected to the Viceroy's move for reconstituting the interim government on the ground that it would be ultra vires of the Government of India Act of 1935. The Viceroy sought legal advice from London on the constitutional objection raised by Quaid-e-Azam. The objection of the Quaid was upheld in London, and Mountbatten was prevented from reconstituting his interim government. It was finally agreed that partition of India was to be effected by 15th August on the basis of the 3rd June plan. His Majesty's government was busy framing the Indian Independence Bill to be placed before the British Parliament for approval. Quaid-e-Azam, a lawyer of exceptional prowess, after studying it, gave his amendments and suggestions to the Viceroy. The bill introduced in the House of Commons on 4th July gave to the legislatures of the 2 dominions complete independence, and these legislatures in fact were to be the constituent assemblies of their respective dominions. The bill was passed on 15th July 1947, was adopted by the House of Lords on the 16th, and received the royal assent on the 18th of July 1947. Now, my dear viewers, we come to a very sensitive part of our presentation, and that is boundary demarcation, which was a denial of justice to Pakistan. It was suggested that in accordance with Section 4 of the Indian Independence Act of 1947, a boundary commission be set up to demarcate boundaries, taking into account contiguity of Muslim and non-Muslim areas with Pakistan or Hindustan. And in doing so, the commission should take account of other factors. This proposal was accepted that Sir Cyril Ratcliffe should be invited to serve as chairman of the Punjab and Bengal boundary commissions, with the casting vote on both. The League and Congress would each nominate 2 High Court judges as their respective representatives on the 2 boundary commissions. The final decision came to be vested in the hands of Cyril Ratcliffe in case of disagreement. This was to result in great detriment to the Muslim interests, as the final reports of the commissions were to prove. The Muslim League nominated Justice Abu Saleh Muhammad Akram and Justice S.A. Rahman as their representatives on the Bengal Boundary Commission, and Justice Deen Muhammad and Justice Muhammad Munir on the Punjab Commission. Sir Cyril Ratcliffe submitted the report of the Punjab Commission to the Viceroy on 12th August, saying as there was no agreement among the members of the Commission, he, that is Ratcliffe, proceeded to give his own decision in the highly contentious division of Punjab and Bengal. He justified the illogical division of Punjab by the highly hypocritical stance. On the whole, I have come to the conclusion, he said, that it would be in the interest of neither state to extend the territories of the West Punjab to the strip on the far side of the Satluj River, and that there are factors such as the disruption of railways, communications, and water systems that ought in this instance to displace the primary claims of contiguous majorities. The Ratcliffe Award, Pakistan lost some vital chunks of territory, all sacrificed on the altar of British prejudice and all too obvious leanings towards the Hindus. In the same way, under the pretext of lack of unanimity, Ratcliffe gave his award in the case of Bengal and Sylhet, submitting to the Viceroy on 13th August. The award included an annexure. It denied the Muslims the important city of Calcutta, to which Muslims had a serious and a very genuine claim. It was, however, decided that the district of Sylhet in Azam, a Muslim majority area and contiguous with East Bengal, should be merged with the new province of East Bengal, which was also vindicated by a referendum in Sylhet. Dear viewers, we must consider the referendum that took place in the Northwest Frontier Province. Considering the typical ethnic profile of the Northwest Frontier Province, it had been agreed that the wishes of the people of the Northwest Frontier Province should be ascertained through a referendum in which all voters of the constituencies of the Provincial Assembly would determine whether the frontier wanted to join the new Constituent Assembly or the Indian Union. There was a Congress ministry in that province under Dr. Khan Sahib, yet with tireless work over a long period of time, Muslim masses of that province had veered round to the League ideology, and they had become among the most ardent supporters of the Pakistan movement and of the Quaid. On 18th June, Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan met Quaid Azam at the latter's residence and placed before him terms and conditions before the frontier could agree to join Pakistan. The frontier Gandhi and Quaid Azam could not arrive at an agreement. All attempts at preventing a referendum in the frontier having failed, the government administrative machinery went full steam ahead to make all arrangements ready to hold it in an orderly, impartial and peaceful manner. Brigadier J.B. Booth, was appointed the referendum commissioner and with British officers of the Indian Army to assist him. He held a referendum which gave the Muslim League convincing victory. 2,89,244 voted for joining the new Constituent Assembly, and only the paltry number of 2,874 voted against it. Quaid's sagacity and visionary prowess can be gauged from the fact that despite the apparent realities, he was sanguine about the political support of Muslims all over India. Even before results of the referendum in Sylhet and in the frontier were known, the Quaid was absolutely convinced that the vote in both places would be overwhelmingly in favor of Pakistan. This is evident from an interview D.F. Karaka, an eminent Indian writer, had with Quaid-e-Azam in Delhi in June 1947. He told Karaka, Congressmen had no real tolerance in them, and they had never learnt the art of living by the principle of give and take. They say, Quaid said to the journalist, it is my pride that has made me fight for Pakistan. I have no self-pride of that sort. I go to the humblest and the poorest people. The interviewer informed him that he had met Maulana Azad, who was confident that the vote in Sylhet would be in favor of the Congress, but he was not so sure regarding the frontier. The Quaid abruptly asked Karaka, which way would you vote if you were a Muslim? We can all, ladies and gentlemen, draw our conclusions from the rhetorical question asked by the Quaid. The results of the referendum, both in the frontier and in Sylhet, showed that Quaid-e-Azam was right. Azad and the Congress, on the other hand, had proved to be victims of mere wishful thinking. My dear viewers, this brought us to the end of a very important episode that we just presented to you. Finally, Pakistan is about to become a reality in the episodes that follow. And inshallah, hopefully you would all be watching the next episodes with great interest and keenness. Thank you very much.